So it's 1 p.m. on the 30th of April 2020. I was going to be doing 4 videos later this afternoon on the transits of Uranus, Saturn, Neptune and Pluto over the coming 4 months whilst they're retrograde, and particularly who they're affecting. And I will be doing this, although I don't know if I'm going to get all 4 of them done later today. Time is pressing on. I've got other things to get on with in my life. But I put up a video a couple of hours ago, and in it I briefly mentioned about how I'm really anti the idea of mandatory vaccines, and how if anyone comes to my house and says you've got to have a jab, they'll have to drag me out kicking and screaming. And that's caused a lot of controversy, as I knew it would. So just to be clear, here's my astrological take on the nature of viruses and vaccines. And after this, I'm not going to be doing any more on this. Firstly, viruses. Viruses are a natural phenomena. They've been around forever. They will be around forever. When I see politicians declaring war on viruses and injecting disinfectant to get rid of them, I just despair for the intelligence of some of the morons who purport to be intelligent leaders of our countries. Viruses are here to stay. As a child, I had vaccines against polio, smallpox, and when I've injured myself in the past, I've had vaccines against tetanus. I understand that a lot of people, especially those people who live in less developed countries where the capacity for good sanitation, good sewage systems, good health and hygiene is not as good as it is in other countries. I understand why they voluntarily go for vaccines. And I am not saying vaccines are a bad idea. All of this is coming because Neptune is in Pisces. Neptune deals with viruses, toxins, poisons. It's in its own sign of Pisces. Vaccines is only going to be a bigger and bigger thing over the coming months and 3 or 4 years. I'm not anti-vaccines. I don't necessarily trust the people who are purporting to make these vaccines, or at least promote them. I suspect there is an agenda, but at the same time I don't like to think of myself as paranoid. Nevertheless, I recognise that some people want to take the vaccine, and I have no problem with that. It's free will and choice, and if you want to take a vaccine, you should, fine, go ahead, do it. But you should also have the right to refuse. Now, there is an argument that says that if you don't have the vaccine, how do you know you're not passing your disease on to other people? Well, if the other people are vaccinated, you're not going to get it. We've always had viruses, we always will. But the vaccines are being made in a way that is completely opposite and against the idea of the holistic paradigm. They're being made by experimenting on animals, by experimenting on humans, by using various chemical concoctions, and they pay no heed and no reference whatsoever to anything natural about them. I come from the old school. I believe that we're born with good health, and that providing we keep a clean life and we eat well and we exercise well and we drink lots of water and we breathe lots of fresh air and we don't eat lots of burgers and we don't eat lots of processed food and we don't take lots of alcohol or drugs, then we're much better likely to have a good immune system and thus be able to resist viruses. And yes, I do take a lot of turmeric and ginger and garlic and beets. And I'm not saying this cures or stops me getting viruses. It does give me a much better chance of not getting viruses than those of you who go out and eat burgers and then line up for your flu jabs. I am not against viruses. I am against people who say to me, you must have a virus. You must have a vaccine. It doesn't matter to me whether it's the government or whether it's Bill Gates. Anyone who says to me, you must be inoculated, They are seeking to inject my body with what I consider to be poison. I have a Mars-Uranus conjunction in my horoscope. I've worked my life out so that nobody really tells me what to do. And yeah, I'm a little bit outside the loop, and I'm a little bit of an ornery character, and I don't react well to people giving me orders. But it's my choice. I'd rather be outside the loop and be a little bit different than conform to the norm. And I repeat that no one will give me a vaccine unless I request it, or unless I say, okay, I'm up for it. And I will not endanger my health. And if it's necessary and I agree with it, I will take a vaccine. But it's very unlikely. That's my stance on vaccines. I'm not anti-vaccinations. I am not anti-virus. I am anti-mandatory vaccination. And I will resist to my dying breath anyone who forces me into doing something I don't want. And that's my final statement on viruses and vaccinations at this time. With Neptune in Pisces, and especially with the stuff that's coming up over the next 6 months, we're all going to be entitled to change our minds. And I will do stuff on this again, but not for a few months. Catch you later.